and activations, but what is keeping you from divinely aligning with your soul's purpose to maximize your impact in the world and to consciously create wealth and abundance in your personal and professional life. Gabrielle Spencer is an internationally known inspirational speaker, multidimensional intuitive, healer, and strategist. And now here's your host, Gabrielle Spencer.
Hello and welcome. I'm Gabrielle Spencer, and this is the Gabrielle Spencer Show. I am here today with someone that I am super excited to have join me as a co-host because it's just fun. We have great fun when we talk together. So welcome with me today, Sara Landon. Thank you for being here, Sara.
Gabrielle, you know I'm so excited for this conversation today. Thank you for having me. And hello to your community all over the world that is watching and listening. We're going to have a great conversation.
We are. And for people who may not be familiar with me, let me just give you a quick introduction. I am a multidimensional intuitive and channel and healer. And what that means basically is I've been gifted with the ability to tap into higher consciousness for information that may not be readily available, to bridge the gap between where people are and where it is that they want to go so that they can get there faster. I'm all about faster. I like fast. I know Sara likes fast. And to give you a little info about Sara Landon, she is a globally celebrated transformational leader. She's an entrepreneur. She is a coach for executives and business people. She's a spiritual advisor, and she's a channel for the council, which is an energetic body of being. So she as well is tapping into higher consciousness to bring in information to help each and every one of us to bridge our gaps, what's missing, what is misinformation, and what it is that we need in order to move forward. Because although it seems like one size should fit all, it isn't and doesn't. And that's actually what we're going to talk about today together is practical spirituality, walking the talk of higher consciousness, and how information is coming in, and there's so much energy coming in. It seems like there's a lot going on, right, Sara?
Oh, absolutely. There's no better time to be alive. I really do believe that. We are so blessed to be here at this time during what I believe is the great awakening of our human family. And for all of your listeners, I'm sure that they themselves have been through their own awakening experience. And how do we really apply all of this wisdom and this information and this insight in our lives to really create the life we want? And do we create the life we want? And so it's such a great conversation. I am really excited for today. I have no idea how we're going to fit it in 1 hour, but we'll try.
We're going to do it. And we're even opening up the phone lines for people to be able to ask questions based on what it is you and I are talking about, because this is such a dynamic topic. This isn't about having our own just predisposition of what we think or a program or anything. It is really about the human experience in the higher consciousness realms and all the crazy that's going on. So do we want to just start with the first really great topic? Let's just jump right in. So here's an email that I received just yesterday, which was perfect timing since this was our topic. And it has to do with this woman. She wrote in, her name is Joanna. She says, I was watching one of the interviews on the summit that is going on, Conscious Wealth Creation Master Class Series. And she said, I've been watching this interview and I've seen a couple of chats recently where this person who's being interviewed is talking about how we don't create our reality, and that what do we think about that? She says, I'm wondering what's the point of view on quantum physics and then which supports this idea, and all the work from Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton in this field. As scientists, I too have been frustrated for years and tried a million different tools and things with limited success, but I was hoping that where we're getting to with quantum view and quantum physics is helping us. How can we not be able to make our dreams by dreaming them? As said in the interview, when there's a lot of science and proof that shows how our brain works and the impact of our imagination versus real, and that the brain can't tell the difference. Such an interesting debate. So, Sara, you and I are going to talk about this because this is a great question, and a question, as we said, more information is coming in. So what's your information coming in about being able to create your own reality, the effect of quantum physics and science, and the new energy and the higher consciousness that's coming in?
Yeah, I'm going to answer this as concisely as I can, but one of the things that I think happens is this is a very open-ended question. Do we create our own reality? There is a lot in the spectrum of no, we don't create our reality, to yes, we're the absolute creator of everything that ever happens to us and everything in between. That's a really wide gap. So I don't know the context of what the person was talking about, the speaker on your show, when they said we don't create our reality. My personal belief is that we absolutely, based on our level of consciousness and awareness, are drawing to us that which is a match to the frequency that we are in, and that we are choosing how we respond to everything that shows up for us in our life. And whether you create a life of joy and happiness and peace and abundance is absolutely up to you. How that happens, when that happens, who that happens with, there's some grand design, some divine plan here. There is some divine orchestration beyond what we in our limited human senses can perceive or even figure out. So my answer to that would be yes, we absolutely create our life with our choices, with the thoughts we're thinking, based on the vibration and the level of awareness that we're in. But who that happens with, how that happens, and when that happens is not being orchestrated by our physical minds. So in my personal experience, absolutely going to the highest vibration, which is your imagination, and playing out the scenarios, going into your imagination and playing and having the experiences that are available to you that are a vibrational manifestation of any experience you want to have. Going there, playing, experiencing that, seeing how it feels, having fun there is available to you all the time. And this is what I believe is so different about what you might call the ascension or the fifth dimension as we move up in consciousness and awareness. How we perceive things around us begins to change. And I'll give you, I'm curious, Gabrielle, if you had the same experience, but in the 90s, in the 2000s, we were talking all about past lives.
Yes.
And, maybe the 80s, 90s, we were always talking about past lives. We were perceiving why our life was the way why it was, because maybe how a past life affected it, or this person we were having a relationship with, who were they in a past life? And I can tell you at that point in my life, I absolutely would have told you, I believe that past lives are real. I'm certain of it. I know it. And it was a big conversation. Now I hardly ever have any conversations about past lives.
Right.
I don't believe that there is this past life karma that you're trying to fix from the past. I even began to be aware that it's possible that what we might perceive as a past life could have been an experience where you were a guide for someone that was having that experience, but because you were so focused on that, you perceived it as real or have the data and information from that. So as I have continued to move through different levels of awareness and consciousness, how I perceive things expands, evolves. As I have new experiences, my truth begins to unfold differently. So I don't think that person is wrong. I don't disagree if that is their perception. I'd be curious what they were referring to specifically. But I'm really curious to hear your feedback on this, because, this is a conversation today is about how do we really walk our talk? How do we really apply this stuff in our lives so that we can, in this elevated state of conversation and consciousness and vibration, we continue to go deeper. And my belief is that you can take all these different theories, all these different ideas, but unless you have actually experienced it as truth, it's not truth until you yourself have experienced it as truth. And only then does it really matter. My personal experience is absolutely you can create the life you want, no matter what circumstances you're in right now. Anything and everything is possible for you. How that happens, when that happens, who that happens with, that part's not up to you.
Okay, wow. Power pack.
That was simple, concise, and only 20 minutes, right?
You know what is so funny is that there is no one answer, as we said. It's not a one size fits all, and that is because each what I consider to be the soul consciousness of you has experienced many things, okay? Past, present, future, out of this universe, out of this galaxy. We have had many existences. And our soul's consciousness is held within your energetic being. So when we perceive something, I totally agree that when you experience something, what gets triggered within you is what you know about it, right? Based on your past experiences or memories or what people have told you or their experiences, things of that nature, right? And that's where your perspective is. And as you do move beyond that lower density yuck that's holding you in those patterns of understanding, where, it's relationships are hard or making money is difficult and whatever it is that you're feeling inside. And those are very lower vibrational thoughts. So when you heal this soul's consciousness, the heart's consciousness, who you are, those things go away and you gain a new perspective on things, like the same thing, but you don't see it the same way. And it doesn't affect you sometimes at all. It doesn't even matter anymore, where in the past it may really have affected you. And so as we are moving along, I think that for myself, the way I perceive it at this time is that we become greater creators of our lives and what it is we're wanting to bring into it as we have freed ourselves from that lower third dimensional victimizer consciousness, where people are playing out the poor me a lot, or, I'm struggling or I have lack and I'm, whatever it is. If we're in that lower 3D, it's hard to escape the collective consciousness, right? And it's super hard to create what it is that you might be wanting. But as you free yourself of that and your consciousness gains frequency and you go higher and higher on that scale of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins, which I love to use because it's easy for people to understand. You give you a scale, right? 0 to 200, that's our 3D consciousness. So we all come in with. And then once you pass that, then you're starting to enter into some higher consciousness frequencies. And that's when I believe you become a greater and greater creator of your life. So it does depend on the frequency. And then we do stop talking about past lives, because the past life stuff sort of is more in that 0 to 200 frequency range. That's really what's keeping you bogged down. And then, so I used to tell my clients, here's the great news. There comes a place where you're not releasing and healing anymore. And that's where we want to go, right? And that's when you step into that creator role. So as far as quantum physics plays into this, it's that quantum physics is basically about the vibration of things, about how fast something is vibrating versus how slow is how it's created and how you manipulate energy, right? So what we're talking about is the higher our frequency goes, the greater your own vibration. And so then with that greater vibration, you're able to create quicker and easier, and you become more of a co-creator with your soul versus the ego mind, which says, I want a Ferrari and I'm really upset because I don't have one yet. Or I want the love of my life and I'm really upset because I don't have that yet. Or do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think we should get specific about this because I think that's really important. So you said a few words. You used the word manipulation, and that's where I think the essence of this question comes from, or maybe what the other speaker was talking about, that we begin to move beyond this place where we are attached to a specific manifestation, like a particular person or a particular car or a particular amount of money. And we move beyond that to aligning to what belongs to us, what is in our highest and best good, what is a vibrational match. And the role of creator becomes more of recognizing the beauty around you, recognizing the love around you, realizing that it is already created and it's here. And your job is to draw more to it, draw more of it to you.
And get in alignment with it.
Exactly. So let me give you a perfect example. Some other words here. When you start living at these higher states of vibration and frequency, being in your innocence and creating from a place of innocence, creating in a way that is impeccable, and you will find that manifestation is instant for you. But let's get into specifics about that. So I had a client who was told by a couple of psychics or people that this particular man was her soulmate, her twin flame, and that she could not become who she wanted to be in the world unless she was with this man. And she wanted to be married. She went into her imagination all the time. She tried to force it and make it happen and take a lot of time and energy, put it on a vision board, really focus on it. And it didn't happen. And she was causing herself a lot of trauma and drama. She was very specific about who it had to be. She was trying to draw him to her by her relentless focus on him and focus on him. And it wouldn't happen. And the resistance and the reaction made her feel helpless and powerless, unable to move forward. And I see this happen a lot. Take the example of relationship, take the example of money, take the example of health. And anytime you have a very, very specific expectation around that, you're going to slow the manifestation. You're going to likely cause yourself a lot of trauma and drama. It's going to feel like force and control and manipulation, which is going to make you feel out of control about your life. And that's not the creating your life that we're talking about here.
Amen. That's like the billboard. That is the importance of not chasing what it is that you're thinking you need to create. Because again, you go back into the lower mind, which is here in this third dimension. Being tapped in and aligned with the soul allows you to connect with the soul's essence and what it is that your soul wants for you. And this is the part about becoming the co-creator. It's whenever we focus on the want and the need things, again, that's just lower vibrational, emotional stuff. We have our reasons and they're logical or whatever. I need it, and it's not to say they aren't valid. And that's what we want everybody to understand. Mm-hmm. They're valid. But when that's your focus and you're chasing that, like you just described, it actually pushes it further away and creates the limitations and the blocks and new ones, like you were just talking about with, this woman who was so focused, it meant that no one else could come in. And I'm so many examples come to mind when you say this, because first I read an article yesterday. I do a lot of reading. I love reading. So I read this article yesterday about this man in Ohio that had a dream 13 years ago, and the dream was about lottery numbers. And so he played those lottery numbers for 13 years, and he just won $1 million. But this is, the trust, the confidence. He stuck with it for 13 years, those same numbers. And this is an exactly valid point to what you're saying. We don't know the time. We don't know how it's going to come about, but you have to get in there and be open and trusting and just allow it to be what it is, right? Mm-hmm. So Absolutely. This is the great thing about being a conscious creator. He consciously chose to play and to keep playing and to trust the numbers. But it took 13 Earth years. And I think that's the part people have to remember, that time here is only relevant to here. It's not relevant to the soul, nor is it relevant to the higher vibrational beings that, we're all connecting with all the time. All right, so I know that we have callers. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and then we will be right back. Are we ready?
If you're ready to make your own shift into higher consciousness, to divinely align with your soul's purpose and consciously create your personal and professional wealth and abundance, then Gabrielle Spencer is your expert coach and trusted ally. Go to www.cwclight.com/strategy to claim your free conscious wealth creation breakthrough session at www.cwclight.com/strategy or text CWC1 to 444-999.
Now is the time to get your free golden ticket to the Conscious Wealth Creation Online Masterclass Series with 18 world-renowned leaders of the light. Access the new consciousness energy to divinely align with your soul's purpose, to maximize your impact in the world, and to consciously create an abundance in your personal and professional life. You won't want to miss one interview from this extraordinary panel of high consciousness leaders who share the whys, whats, and hows. This event starts May 7th through May 24th. Go to cwclight.com/event to claim your free entry. That's cwclight.com/event.
If you are looking for someone who has the rare and amazing gift of being both a powerful healer who effortlessly taps into universal energy to heal, to provide clarity, and to shift you into your soul's divine, aligned purpose, and at the same time is a straight-talking, grounded businesswoman working in this dimension, then Gabrielle Spencer is that someone, says KDR. If you are ready to move into your highest frequency and shift your personal and professional wealth and abundance to your greatest level, claim your free breakthrough strategy session at www.cwclight.com/strategy or text CWC1 to 444-999. That's 444-999.
Hello and welcome back to the Gabrielle Spencer Show. I'm here today with my co-host, Sarah Landon. Thank you for joining us. Shortly, we will be taking calls, live calls, to answer your questions about living your regular daily life with practical spirituality and higher consciousness principles, what's getting in your way, what's happening for you, and really how things may or may not be working, whatever it is that is in your heart that you would like to get answers about. Because I know Sarah and I love these questions, just like the one we started this show with, because there are many things that are going on for people as this higher vibrational energy is coming in. And I would love to ask you right now, I hear this a lot out there, and I know that you do too. And it is the idea of activating your soul's wisdom and your soul's knowledge. And I think this goes along really well with the topic we've been talking about. So what does that mean, and how do people do it? I ask you, Sarah, all the tough questions.
So what does that, so I want you to start with this one, Gabrielle. I want you to answer that, and I'm going to respond. We have a question coming in from Danielle. So
all right. So activating your soul's wisdom. Again, it is a frequency-based thing. And I wish that I could get all my soul's wisdom. Would that be the coolest download ever, Sarah? That would be so much fun.
Yes. And I think it's always evolving. I do believe that there is a divine plan, but I also believe that we come here with this free will to choose, and everybody else also gets to choose. And so I can tell you that the greatest peace in my life and joy in my life and happiness in my life has come from aligning to my soul's wisdom, which usually says, just be in the moment and don't try to figure it out, and don't try to know what every step along the way is going to look like, and just be and let it all unfold, be in alignment to the flow of life and divine orchestration. And I'll tell you, that was my soul's wisdom, certainly not what my personality wanted to hear early on in the game.
Oh my God, I was just going to bring this up as you were talking, to say to everybody, that was probably my biggest source of resistance, was getting past how I wanted to interpret things. Mm-hmm. And also what I wanted to do, or what I thought I should be doing, or what I wanted to, or didn't want to do either. I mean, that's part of our stories. I mean, your story, my story, they're very similar in that, we were going along in life, and every now and again it pops up still. And it's really fascinating because you always get the opportunity to remember the greater lesson or the greater idea or the greater principle, right? Because it's not like those opportunities don't still pop in. And it's fascinating to me how we end up going, okay, wait a second. And you have to step back and go, you know what? I don't have an answer. Let's just allow it to play out. And I know that for both of us, and in our own lives with our partners and my family, that, this is harder to do the more people you have involved in your life. This is the hard part, is to be able to get everybody to that same place of allowing, but being open. That doesn't mean that you shut it down and go, well, I'm not going to think about it now, which is an automatic, block in many ways, because the minute you're thinking about something, it's going to be blocked anyway, because your mind is processing it from what you know. And as I talk about often, is your mind only knows this limited sphere of its influence, whereas your higher mind and your soul knows the vaster, greater, think of it like the library in Alexandria in Egypt. And I don't know why that just popped in, but that's what I just saw. It's like having that vastness of knowledge, and it would take, eons to get through what was housed there, and even in the new one that they built to replace it. The idea that your soul has that much wisdom plus access to the universal understanding of everything, that as you continually raise your vibration, I don't believe it's like one activation that activates your soul, right? So that's probably one misconception we can just mark off right there for everybody. There's not one activation. It's about that continual transformation to your frequency, to your own being, and merging your being here with that soul, your soul's divine alignment, and your, and all that entails, which there's a lot, right? But the higher you raise your frequency, I always look at it like a bank vault. You have to have the combination to open that bank vault, and frequency is your combination. That's your mathematical frequency in order to open what is contained within your soul. And when you start getting what I call data packets, which is just that down and you just suddenly get it, and then I basically struggle to put it into words, right? Like, okay, I got all this, and you have this understanding, and then the challenge is I have to put words to this and make it fit in the language that we have, right? That's my biggest challenge sometimes. So,
so much coming in as you talk about this. So your soul's wisdom, here's the one thing, you perfect analogy. I love that you used that analogy, but every answer you could ever need to every situation, everything that you could ever need to say, do, any place you ever need to go, any information, anything you ever need is available to you in every moment through your alignment. Your purpose is not something you chase. It is something you align with. Your soul's wisdom is not something you try to figure out and pursue. It is something you align with. Your destiny is not something that you chase around. You align with it. Let me give you a really perfect example of that. So everything you ever need to know about any situation, your soul's wisdom is available to you in every moment. But by your example of going to Alexandria, to a museum, imagine going in there and you have all this information and someone says, okay, well, here, you have 2 weeks to read everything in there. It doesn't work that way. What happens is, let's imagine that you are going to San Diego and someone's like, hey, I want to tell you about all the great restaurants in Chicago. You're like, I'm not going to Chicago. I'm in San Diego, or I'm going to San Diego. I want to know about San Diego. Right. In that moment, there's a place in the library where your soul's wisdom resides, where everything you could need to know, where you need to go, what time you need to be there, about that particular experience is available to you. But most of the time, what we're trying to do is access information about something we are not currently experiencing. So it's not relevant.
Exactly.
Or we want to know everything about every city in the world right now, which, the analogy to that is we want to know what we're going to be doing a year from now and 5 years from now and 10 years from now, and how's it all going to work out, and who's it going to be with, and how much money am I going to make doing it, and where am I going to live? Yeah, you actually can't access that information because there's so many choices between here and there. And if the person that, let's just say, is destined to be there with you in a year from now, does not make the choices to meet you there, Source will deliver to you, your higher self will orchestrate with the higher self of another something of the exact same frequency or identical match or something even better because of the state of awareness you have evolved into. The second thing I want to say about, this idea that you can go through one activation and it activates, your soul forever and ever. Amen. I do believe that there is a lot of incredible activations, wisdom, experiences out there, meditations, music, that in that moment, maybe even for just a couple of moments, you're aligned with your soul. And the more you practice that, the easier it will be to align with your soul and your soul's wisdom. And so, for example, we started talking today in both of our introductions about how we access higher consciousness and channeled wisdom. For most people, they don't understand that, first off, everybody has access to the same higher state of conscious awareness that you have, that I have, that any channeled person has. If it's not showing up for you, the difference is that we have practiced getting into that vibration where we can easily access that higher state of consciousness. And at least for me, that became the most important thing in my life for a long period of time, such that every day I was in that vibration for 5 to 6 to 7 hours a day. So now it's very easy for me to get in and out of a channeled state and access the information. It's never really separate from me. But I'll tell you, if I am in my head, stressed out, worried and anxious about the future, trying to figure it all out and force it and make it happen, I'm not connected to that channeled wisdom, because I'm not in the vibration to where I allow that. And at least for me, the way I experience that is to get out of my head and to drop into my heart and to just take a breath. And I find that it is a going within in this direction where I align with my soul and the wisdom of my soul. And so I hope that's helpful for people that are, trying to make sense of all of this. I think it's so important, Gabrielle, that we, give specific examples of these high level topics that we talk about so people can really apply this in their life.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a bridging the gap of hearing it, but you don't actually know how to apply it, and you don't really know what it means to you. I know from my own healing journey on myself, in the beginning, when people would say things, I'll never forget this one. I was on a spiritual journey to Mongolia. And so you think to yourself, wow, that's pretty awesome. Except for I had no idea what was going on at all. So I was really a newbie, and I was just doing the part, right? And I remember that a channeling came through, and it was about how you're not supposed to really even have thoughts, and that you're just supposed to be in the moment, in the now. And I remember like truly laughing and being really snarky about it. Like, really, how is that ever going to happen? I mean, how can you not have thoughts? And it's funny because I can laugh at myself now going, well, now I totally understand, because it is being in that higher vibrational consciousness that there actually isn't any mind chatter. And so it's kind of hard for me sometimes to remember that other people are still experiencing mind chatter, not because I see myself differently or better or anything else. It just isn't present anymore. So when something leaves, right, I know you have this experience, when something is no longer present in your life, you actually just forget about it.
Yep.
It's like people are like, how would you forget that? It just isn't present anymore. And so it's being in that place. It's exactly like you said, it's super easy to be one with that higher aligned energy and to just be getting information in, even when you might be emotional. This is the other part that happens. And it happened to me super recently. I was very annoyed with my beautiful son, and he had me really just, and my brother texted me wanting me to tap in for him. And I was like, no, I'm just irritated. Leave me be. I don't trust myself even. I don't trust myself to tap in right now to give you this really important answer. And he kept at me. And finally I was just like, look, the answer I get is yes, but whatever, like I could make that up. I don't feel like I'm connected, but here's the funny part. I was completely connected. And so then it just brought up that, I didn't trust myself enough to know that I'm always connected. I don't have to do any fancy legwork to be connected. I'm just always connected, right? So this is the point about living in practical life. You want to be in a place where you're not ever disconnected, that you're really connected. So that experience was like a big wake-up call for me, like, Gabrielle, come on, right? And so the fun part about being human is that you get to a place where you get to just laugh and be like, wow, I guess that I could do better with that, right? And there might be a little bit of something that, we need that to go away. So I think that for everybody, what we're expressing here is that it's about doing what you need to do to be in alignment with your soul, and that whatever frequency you're at, your soul is meeting you there. And that's the activation and the alignment that you have. And that if you want that to continue to evolve and to grow and to get greater and greater information and ability and reconnect with your own gifts, then you keep working on that connection and releasing whatever might be blocking it or keeping you from trusting it fully, like I just gave you my own example. And, so this still happens and it's okay. That's the difference, where in the past, people might have made themselves feel bad or guilty or whatever those lower feelings are. For me, I just realized, no, that's just funny. That's funny because really, but I didn't take the time. And I laugh. I'm just like going, Gabrielle, that's really an interesting thing, because it tells us that we are still human, and you have to laugh and be okay and have fun and realize it is not all dire. And that was my realization, even from this situation with my brother. It's not dire that I don't have the answer right now. That's another piece that you talked about earlier. You don't need to know this minute because your mind says, I need to know. All right. Do we want to take a caller?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We're going to skip the break, Cameron. We're running out of time because Sara and I are just having so much fun. All right. So our first caller is Danielle from California. Danielle, are you there?
Hello.
Hi, Danielle.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So tell us, what is your higher consciousness living in daily life question?
I am an intuitive, a professional intuitive, and I've been getting really mixed messages about whether to help my husband with his cafe, which has been having some trouble. And I'm feeling a bit torn.
Helping him in going to work in his cafe versus doing your own intuitive work, or helping him by giving him some intuitive guidance or answers that are coming to you, but he might not be asking for?
The first one.
So giving up kind of your own work to help him in the cafe.
Yeah, I mean, I won't give up my work, but
to maybe spend more time with him versus in your own practice.
Yes, exactly. Just going all in with him and really helping him offset some of his weaknesses. He has really good strengths, but he lacks organizational skills.
So what's your resistance? If you close your eyes, what's the resistance about helping?
I get frustrated with him. I think we have a lot of love for each other, but we have different styles, and I have a bad temper. And sometimes I'm so scared financially. I'm currently supporting us. I'm a piano teacher and an intuitive both. And my practices are really in flow, not making enough money to pay all our bills. So I feel like I could help him maybe even temporarily to get things on track, and then just occasionally pop in and help him. Or I could just go all in and just really be a part of the team more permanently on a more full-time basis, but still keep my practice.
So go ahead, Sarah.
So let me just say one thing.
Yes.
Fear equals fewer choices.
Yeah.
When you think it's only A or B, either I'm all in and I jump all in and I help him out, or I do my own thing and I try to make it happen and make more money so that we're safe. I either have to choose A or B, and I'm making myself choose this right now. Your entire body goes into fear. And I think that's where you're trying to make a decision from right now. And I don't think you can make a decision from that level. Number one, one of my core teachings is do not make a choice until it is choiceless. Wait until this decision is choiceless. You don't have to decide here and now today. You don't have to decide tomorrow. And it's not an all or nothing decision. So number one, trust that. And I promise you, I have given this particular exercise to more people than I can even count. And every single time people come back and say, you're right, something happened and it was choiceless. There comes a time when the pieces go in and divine orchestration puts the pieces together such that you can feel in your body exactly what to do. But unless that is presenting itself, you're going to feel fear trying to make that decision when it's not choiceless. The second piece is, don't make it all or nothing. And this is all sort of coming from wanting to avoid some unwanted circumstance, which is not having enough money, not getting in an argument, not, being successful, versus really getting into alignment with your highest truth. Like in this moment, just if you're not driving, just close your eyes and take a breath and get centered again and just feel what it feels like to be in this moment and to be in your power and to be in your body and to just be present.
And when you're doing that, you may ask your higher self to show you the way, to provide the miracle, to provide the answer that's in everybody's best good. And then your job is to take that perspective that it's going to be provided, and that you then are listening for the little nudges that come that, it reminds me of the old book, one of the books that came out forever ago. And, anyway, it has to do, I totally lost, although I see the cover of it. So the idea, though, is that with each little piece that comes in and you take that action, then the next piece will come into play, because the whole entire answer, the way you're perceiving it, isn't going to ever just show up, the whole thing all figured out. You're going to have to take each piece as it comes in. And that's when the miracle happens, where, oh my gosh, this had a better answer than anything I could ever have thought up with what I thought logically my choices are. And so taking that moment to center and then putting that request to your higher self, to your soul, show me the way. And I remember when I first was told that I was to do this, show me the way, I got annoyed and a little pissed off, actually. I was like, I just want an answer, though. And so that's just to say to you, just allow that answer to come in, because it will. And it will come, and then everybody also will be on board, because the resistance isn't just on your side. So you want to be able to get everybody in play and everybody moving in the same direction. And the way to do that is not by forcing the only options on people, versus allowing and calling in everybody's higher self to ask for the highest solution to come forward. Okay?
Well, that's so helpful, because I'm already getting some pretty clear first steps.
Good.
Awesome.
I like to always ask to go along with exactly what Gabrielle said. Ask your soul to show you the way, and then say, okay, what's my next perfect step? And it's sometimes not logical. Your next perfect step could be to go get a coffee.
Yes.
And you may walk into the coffee shop and you run into someone that you haven't seen in years, or you meet someone that, brings in a particular piece of that. So exactly what Gabrielle said, and ask for your higher self to show you the way, and then take one step at a time. What's my next perfect step? And when you're in the moment, it'll show up, and do it, even if it does not appear as if it has anything to do with the answer to your question.
Absolutely. That is key. Because when we talk about pushing things away because you're pursuing it, this is exactly that teaching, Danielle, that we were talking about, is that you're not focusing on this issue all the time. You sort of put it out there and you leave it alone. Okay. So you just allow that information to come in and you don't process it. That's what Sarah's saying. Don't take the time to mentally process what you're receiving. Just act on it. Say yes or do whatever it is. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling in. All right, we have only a few moments left. I can't believe how fast our time has gone, Sara. So with everything that we've talked today, which is a whole lot of awesome information, I want to invite our viewers here with us today to send in your questions as we started this show today with, what is the burning question within you about how to live in your practical life, your everyday life with practical spirituality, the tools and the energy and what's happening, because it is constantly evolving and very quickly. I've said many times in the past, we had years to acclimate and get ourselves in sync with the energy that was coming in. And now it's like almost a daily readjustment, realignment period. And so we want to share with everybody to take that time to be in alignment, because there's a lot going on that we don't physically understand, and we don't know until we're moving through it what is happening for us and for others. So it's important just to be aware. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Sara?
I just, trust yourself. Just really trust yourself in these times. Take care of yourself, honor yourself, take the time you need, take the space you need. You don't need to force it all and make it all happen today. Just be gentle on yourself. This is actually supposed to be fun. Our life is supposed to be fun. If you're really feeling overwhelmed, take an hour and just go do something that brings you joy. Take the afternoon and just go play. Go out in nature. Go do something that you really want to do. We have all these ideas of what we should be doing. And I'll tell you, the answers, the puzzle piece, the missing piece that I always need, it comes when I am just allowing my life to be easy and fun and doing the things that bring me joy. So I just wish everybody a wonderful, amazing day. Gabrielle, this has just been such a joyful experience to be here with you. And thank you to everyone. This has been so fun for me.
I am so excited. Thank you. I love having the intellectual discussion about spirituality, because I know that people are thinking similar things to what I have thought to myself in the past. And this is the forum where we want to explore this for people so that they can bridge that gap between what they're hearing and what others are saying and how it actually applies to them. So I want to thank everyone for being here today and sharing this time with us. I appreciate you, your energy, and I just send you golden light from my heart to your heart, Sara, and to our entire audience, that you receive the higher vibrational frequencies that you need to assist you to get in alignment with your soul and with your highest and greatest potential, that you receive the joy and happiness and the fulfillment that is wanted and needed to make your heart sing. I am all about heart singing lately. It's pretty awesome. And I love when people tell me that something they've heard or received just makes their heart sing, because that is the frequency of love. That is what we're talking about when we say the love frequency. Mm-hmm. So with everyone, I hope you felt it and you've enjoyed connecting with us. And I can't wait to receive your questions and comments for our next show. Much love. Thank you, Sara. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
You've been listening to The Gabrielle Spencer Show with your host, Gabrielle Spencer. If you're ready to make your own shift into higher consciousness, to divinely align with your soul's purpose and consciously create your personal and professional wealth and abundance, then Gabrielle is your expert coach and trusted ally. Go now to Gabrielle's website, www.gabriellespencer.com, and get your free bonuses and gifts. You'll instantly receive free access to invaluable healings, clearings, and activations that will raise your vibration and open your heart for greater levels of abundance. Go to www.gabriellespencer.com right now and fill in the opt-in. Now is the time to shift into your higher consciousness for creating your soul's divine aligned wealth and abundance.